Well, I think if you look back over the 3 years that I've been here, the big initiatives that have really already started to bear fruit are the impact of new technologies into the business. And that's helped us to improve productivity, and it's also helped us to improve our service levels. And once you start to improve productivity and service at the same time, of course, you immediately have an impact on margins and returns and the growth in the profitability of the company. And that's what you've seen at SATS over the last 3 years. So early on, we realized that in some of our key markets, like Singapore, like Hong Kong, and even the Chinese cities as well, the cost of labor was starting to go up. And we knew that if we didn't transform the way that we delivered service and deploy more capital, then no matter how much volume growth there was in the market in terms of travel and food, we would never be able to translate the volume growth into bottom line growth. So we deliberately set about trying to redesign the job processes, and where we could, to replace manual roles with automation, and where we had manual tasks to do which we couldn't automate, then at least we tried to create more dynamic rostering of our people so that they could spend their time more productively. And so if I can just give you an idea of the kinds of things that we've been implementing in the kitchens, and we run very large scale centralized kitchens. We've replaced manual, for example, dishwashing loading with automated loading, using very large scale ultrasound dishwashers, which would be the size of this room. So very different than a smaller competitive kitchen would be able to deploy. And those are more energy efficient. They're definitely more labor efficient. And by the way, they also don't use as much detergent. So it's better for the environment. What that means is that we invest capital in the short term. We replace operating expenses, like staff expenses on the P&L, with depreciation. But then as the volumes increase in the industry, which they are, fortunately we're exposed to very fast growing trends in aviation and food. But as the volumes increase, we get better operating leverage. And that means that more of the growth in the Asian markets will drop down to our bottom line. So you can see that both in our food business and also in terms of the cargo and gateway investments that we've been making. Right now, in fact, in cargo, you can see our Coolport facility, which is a highly automated, temperature-sensitive perishable handling center here at Changi. You can see that there are very few people working in that. The people that are working in it are highly certified, qualified on an international basis. So we can pay them more, which is great. But the volume of perishable cargo that they can handle per head is much higher than in a less automated cargo facility. And that means that as the volume of perishables increases, which it is because people want fresh food from Japan, or they want pharmaceuticals that are manufactured, in India, etc., etc. All of these things are growth trends. We can handle those without having to employ a lot more people. So the one thing I think we've been successful more than anything else over the last 3 years is applying technology to reduce our dependence on labor and reducing the more mundane manual tasks in both the kitchens and the ground handling operations. That has improved our margins. So our margins have gone from high single digit now to 13% over the 3 years. It's a very large increase. And our return on equity has improved correspondingly as well, now up to 15% from about 11% a few years ago. So we're able to give our shareholders better returns for the capital that we invest in the business. We're able to pay our people more because they upskill themselves into these more technically oriented jobs. And then, of course, we're able to continue to sustain in an environment where labor shortages will get more and more acute, not just in Singapore, but across all of Asia.